Welcome back to another episode of The Nudge. I am your host, Diego Carrete, and I've spent my life helping people live better. On the show, our guest stories will inspire you to move, eat, sleep, and think better, meeting you where you are in your wellness journey. Now, be sure to click that subscribe button so when a new episode goes live, you'll be the first one to know. Welcome to today's episode of The Nudge. I'm excited to introduce Wolfi Hohmann, a trailblazer in the cycling community and the visionary founder of Wolfi's Bike Shop, a globally renowned hub for cycling enthusiasts based in Dubai. Wolfi's journey is nothing short of inspiring. From starting a small shop in 2002, he's grown it into a leading destination for athletes and cycling lovers alike. But Wolfi isn't just about business success. He's an advocate for active lifestyles, personal health, and the life-changing power of sports. His passion for cycling has led him to build a community that fosters fitness, well-being, and shared purpose. In today's episode, we'll dive into Wolfi's approach to wellness, the mindset behind his business growth, and how he integrates his personal love for cycling with his professional mission. Wolfi, welcome to The Nudge. Thank you for making the time, even though we are just next door to each other still. I appreciate you coming over.
No, thank you. I love the idea about The Nudge, and I love the logo. I love the whole purpose of the show. I think it's great to give people that kick they need to start, and hopefully to start a better lifestyle and a healthier lifestyle. It's good.
And you're the right person to inspire us doing this. Before we start, we were talking outside, and you made me feel so good and so bad at the same time, because I thought to myself, I should be doing that. You came here 30 years later, or 30, how long have you been?
Yeah, 35. Since I'm 16, Wolfi is part of my life as the bicycle business and getting people into the sports.
And you came here with the shirt, repping your brand, and I don't know, it's like almost like you were embodying your brand from head to toe. And I got inspired, and at the same time I thought to myself, you're slacking, you should be doing the same. Why are you not doing that? Then all this negative self-talk started, like, okay, let's focus with Wolfi. But I'm inspired already. So
thank you. So I give you the nudge.
You gave me the nudge that I needed.
Very good.
Totally.
You know, it is interesting that obviously associating your work and your brand with your name is quite something. Yeah. And I think if you do that, you have to be aware that this will always reflect on everything you do, and I think it's good, and it holds me always accountable. So every time I feel, and I speak to my team and I say, guys, this is my name. And I think when we go all the way back and as humans, and we have our name and we have our integrity and how people then see us, I think our name is a high value. At least for me, it's a very, very high value. So if my name is associated to anything I'm doing, it means a lot to me, and I'm very sensitive about this, and so everything we do within Wolfi's, everything associated to what we're doing is always a very, very personal thing. And I have a nice story about this. When our daughter was born, and that's now 26 years ago, I was listening to German television, and when she had baby food, and there's a German company called HIP, H-I-P-P, and the owner of the company, he was doing advertising, and a big company doing baby food in glasses, and he was standing on a field, and there was apple trees, and he was standing under the tree, and he was picking an apple, and he said, I will make sure, and I guarantee with my name, that everything in this glass is going to be good and it's going to be healthy for your baby. And I'm still getting goosebumps, because you know, we had just a newborn baby, and he said, listen, I make sure that your baby is okay, you will never have any issues with the food. And I said, oh my God, that is a big statement. Yeah, he has a multi-million-dollar company and millions of glasses every day. But he said, I guarantee with my name, Klaus Hipp, I don't forget that. Yeah, and that was always an inspiration for me to say, hey, Wolfi's is me, and Wolfi's the brand, and Wolfgang Hohmann as the person is completely one.
I think this is brilliant, and I can see how marketing and branding has not changed so much after all, in a sense, because everything starts with trust. And people buy people, they don't buy businesses. So when you are able to leverage that trust like you've done, I think that's ideal. In a way that people maybe, I see sometimes the drawback of getting yourself outside of the brand so you can then increase the market value, sell whatever. But in your case, Wolfi's is, we know it's yours, but people might not know it, but they still trust it. I don't know. It's a good ecosystem that you have going on. And I'm interested about how you started. And I think I already know a fair bit. You came here in 2002.
Yes, correct.
Walk us through that journey very briefly before I dive into...
Very good, yeah. When my journey started in cycling was when I was 16, and it's 1986, and I started to work in hospitality, and we started to rent bikes to our hotel guests. And then I saw what happened with the people when they're riding bikes, and I really liked it. And I asked my hotel director at the time, said, hey, can I take a bike and can I sell it in the garage of my brother? And it was always a side hustle next to my work in hospitality. I have an apprenticeship as a chef. I worked in hospitals. I worked in sports gyms at the time. And but it was always next to my work, to my regular work, was always the bicycle business. And then I kind of lost my job when I was working in a hospital because there was a reform of the healthcare system. So there was a bit of restructuring in the system, and that was the best thing for me looking back, because that forced me to take that leap into being fully self-employed. And I did this for a couple of years with the help of my wife, and then our daughter was born, and then my brother moved to Dubai, and we were visiting him as a vacation, and we saw the opportunity. We saw Dubai and the UAE as a growing market, and he said, "Hey, you should try it." And then we got the nudge, and we started a business 2002. But it was a different place. The UAE was not as it is today, as we know it today. And we came here to help people to get into cycling, and it was just a beautiful story to see how many people, I think, we kind of got into the sport, and we really changed life. And that's maybe today the big motivation for me to go to work every day, to reach people, to motivate people, to see people. I was out there this morning riding the cycle track in Meydan, and always puts a smile on my face to see all the people riding their bikes. And I think some people know that we've been here for 22 years and have, with the help of the government, to create all these things. But it is a fantastic moment, and it's so nice to look back to 22 years and see there was a successful story we have created, not only for us, it's for the team and for all the people in the UAE.
This is great, and I tell you why I think it's even greater. I see a direct association or a sort of common trend of successful people emerging from hardship. And we were discussing about our children, how personally I felt that I was overprotecting my kids in a way, and I didn't get the chance to go through the same safety or safe journey. How do you feel like these challenges, you losing your job, having to start from scratch, coming all the way here, these challenges molded you into the human that you are today?
Absolutely, and it all helped. And interesting as well, maybe even before I lost my job, I was in school. I was quite an overweight child, and I remember the days when we were in sports class, and I got teased and you were maybe the last to be selected in a team, and today maybe we would say I was bullied for what I was at the time, but for some reason it changed my view, and maybe being 14, 15, I thought, no, I need to change this. I need to change my life. And it made me strong, because obviously that feeling of being challenged by others for how you look
That's
like.
How you started biking?
Yes. My brother was an inspiration. So my oldest brother was very sporty. And obviously then you go to the gym, and you get a bit self-aware about how you look like. And then you start going to the gym, you start going to cycle, and then you feel, it makes you feel better, you look better. And obviously you want to be just a better version of yourself. But this was something which was quite important. And then losing your job and all these challenges which we had to face, looking back, they all make you stronger. And it's just biology. I think in our system, it's always overload is needed to make you stronger physically, mentally. And if you don't have an overload, and it should be obviously a measured overload,
Sure, yeah.
And then, but sometimes it's you have this load, and then your body adapts, your mind adapts, your mindset adapts to all of this. And I think these challenges are important. And I'm in a position that we have a daughter, and I think sometimes being protective to my team, sometimes doing things for them and not setting them out for the challenge because you think, maybe it's a bit too much or not. I think it's finally not really helpful. Yeah, and I think sometimes it would have been, we want always the best I want the best for my team, I want the best for my family, I want the best for my daughter, and sometimes it's maybe not the best way. She's doing really well, so I don't want to say anything. She's studying, she's in the second time, she's very motivated, and so I think we have to see how the generation turns out. But I think in some sense we're not helping the generation by removing the challenges. And especially living in the UAE, we have a very well protected place here, and everything is at convenience. You can get food, you can get everything over the click of a button. So I think there's a lot of things, but I think that's the time we're living in. Yeah.
I think as you say, the UAE provides the safety. That's one of the main reasons why I feel this is home to me from my heart. I also feel like a big part of this is personally my fault, and I take ownership of that because I overprotect, and even over the smallest things. Or maybe how is the parenting style of parents? I became some sort of helicopter parent, as I was saying, and it's all with the best intentions. Mm-hmm. How is the school? Did anything happen at school that I should be aware of? And if someone would say, or she would say, this person said this, or that food is yuck, or whatever, and I got so upset. And I'm like, well, the kids, probably I was 20 times worse. I let them face these small challenges and build resilience so they can become resilient humans.
I'm sure my parents were not aware about everything I had to face in school, and they were busy with their own lives, and they said, hey, get on with it. And if when we're out in the streets and we had a fight with the neighbor boys and with whatever, and you just had to deal with it, and you grew up and you deal with it, and parents were not as involved, as you said, with everything what is today the case. And I think we should let the kids experience the things and get strong and get a bit more resilient. I think that would be helpful for lots of them.
So one of your motivations, Wolfi, what was the initial motivation, and how did those motivations shift as you were mentioning, as you became financially it stopped being the main thing, or one of the things now is purely you being pure, as you said. Yes. How those motivations transitioned and evolved?
Obviously you go to phases in your life, and I'm now 53. I've been in UAE for 22 years. I've had my 20s to 30s to build my business in Germany. There was a motivation, obviously, to be secure for the family, to build a business, to be seen as a valuable person, to get married to my wife, and all of these things are challenges you have to face. Then from 30 to 40, I was in Dubai. I was fully involved into building the business, and I was kind of very focused sometimes as well, almost to a challenging point. But I needed to do this. I needed to make it happen. The first 10 years were really challenging because the market was very small, and I always say I was a master of converting every conversation into people, make them hopefully aware about that I have a bicycle business, and hopefully get them to buy a bicycle, because I just needed it, because we needed every opportunity needed to be converted into hopefully a sale, to make my business, and just to survive here, because we don't have a safety net. We were really on our own. There was no company I was working for. It was me and my wife and people who trusted me to make sure they get their salary at the end of the month.
Wow.
And you get stronger every day. It was a challenge. And then you come to your 40, to your 50s, and that's again maybe where already you have seen it, you have done it for 10 years, and you know what's coming, and you have this experience. And now with 50, certain pressures are gone. Our daughter is grown up. She is successful in her studies. My wife, myself, we are kind of in a good situation financially. We're in a safer situation. Before we have arranged our life in the way we want it, and then suddenly your focus goes into a different direction. And I said before that I feel like I'm at a good level. I'm at a pure level for myself. So my intentions are clear, intentions for my business, for my team. I want to help. I want to leave a legacy. It's maybe now the next project for me, leaving a legacy with events, getting more people into the sports with the Wolfi Cycling Academy, where we get children to learn how to ride a bicycle. That's a fantastic moment. Having the businesses reaching more people to enjoy cycling and really seeing the difference it makes for them once we get them onto a bike. It changes their life. I had yesterday a conversation with a customer, just a quick WhatsApp, and he said, "Hey, I'm so happy that you're into cycling, because I remember the moment maybe a year ago when we got you the bike, and now you fully emerged into the cycling scene, and he's trying to get his wife into the sport now, and friends and everything." And I said, "Okay, that's perfect." I mean, it's really we have a campaign. We say, "Bring a friend" in Wolfi's, and that's kind of giving. Once you fall in love with cycling and you see all the benefits it gets you mentally and physically, then we say, hey, now it's time to give a nudge to another person and help another person to get into the sport. And that's something we do. And that's the motivation for me really at the moment to get to work, is to help my team to get better in what they do and get as a person, see them prosper in their life and career, and reach every day a customer, hopefully to inspire them to get into the sport.
And through this journey, this is very interesting, and I appreciate the fact that your motivation has shifted or became, I see myself as an individual. When I started my business before Fab, I was very outcome driven in terms of, I have nothing, I need to make sales.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course I want to help, of course I was a good person, and I still am, hopefully. But I needed to make things happen, right? And then when you get into a place where you build, I wouldn't say your wealth, that's a big word, but your safety net, you become more client-driven, at least myself, client-driven, where numbers don't matter that much. They still matter, but you can refine that focus. And for me, the journey has been way more fulfilling the moment where I don't have to look at the balance sheet as much. So I can totally relate with that. And I want to ask for advice. Advice or your experience in terms of, over these 35 years since you started, what would you have done differently? What your advice would be to the 16-year-old Wolfi?
I think everything I did led to where I'm today, and all the challenges have been good and have been good teachers for me in my life. And in some way, I wouldn't. First of all, I can't change anything, and maybe my view is always forward. Yeah, and I hope that every time something happens, I can walk away with a learning. I think this is a key. If I feel it's only a loss, I suffer for a long time with it. If it's only really I haven't taken a learning from it, and I couldn't make it any better, and it's something maybe which is not to be changed anymore, then it was hard for me. But other than that, everything I did led to an outcome which is today. And so far, my life has been good, and I'm blessed as well that it is that way. But maybe it's as well the way how you frame everything in your life and how you look at things. And there have been very challenging times, and I can refer to to me growing up. Maybe my parents got divorced, and all of this was challenging. But then going to Dubai, and the first 10 years were challenging in many different aspects. But all good. I'm very comfortable for that. So I think you should be comfortable with where you are right now, have a high level of integrity, give your best. I think that's really something important. I think you really need to ask yourself. I wrote this actually on one of my bikes on the top tube. Ask yourself if you're really giving 100%. Is it really that you're fully committed? And when you're doing something, are you really fully immersed? And if not, ask yourself why I'm not immersed. And if it's not what you want to do, find a way that you can align with your purpose and with your mission and the vision you have for certain things, and really try to align this 100%.
I feel it's more challenging nowadays because we provide our children with many plans, with many options, with plan B, C, D, E, and once you commit 100%, you most of the time sometimes know that There's no other way. Is it that I do it or I do it? I lost my job, I had
Yes.
a mortgage, and my wife had lost her job as well. So people ask me, how did you build your business from scratch? And I said, I had no plan B.
Mm-hmm.
It's either that or I leave the country.
Mm-hmm.
I default a mortgage. Like, I cannot. So now I see my daughter has many plans.
Mm-hmm.
My fault, probably. But how do you go about or went about not having a plan B, and how would you advise someone to eliminate, to just stick to one plan, to not get scattered, to no plan B approach? This is what I've learned from you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I have, and this is what I stick to, and there's no plan B. How do you give 100% knowing that you may have alternatives?
Mm-hmm. It's challenging, but I think options are very difficult, and options are difficult for our brain to comprehend, because going a few years back, when we had only 1 or 2 or 3 TV channels, it was easy. Yeah, the one was only for news, and maybe it wasn't even playing in the evening. So in the evening you had one TV show and one movie, and so that was it. That was the movie you were watching, and I think you were happy with that movie. But now you go to Netflix and Amazon Prime and whatever, and you have a million channels. And sometimes I sit in front of the TV and I can't even make a decision which one to watch. And then it's 30 minutes later and I'm tired and I go to bed and I haven't even started a movie. So I think options are sometimes very challenging for our mind to make up. And then you think, okay, is this the right way? Is this the right way? And if you obviously, it's difficult to understand, is this the right direction you're going? Yeah. For me, I felt in my life it was good. I put all my cards, all my money onto the story in Dubai and going to the UAE. And I made my decision to do so. And luckily it worked out. But I think if you have decided to go in one direction, I think it's important that you commit 100%, at least for a long enough, a bit of time. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are so distracted, and they say the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, but I think the grass is greener where you really look after it and you really try to protect the grass and water it and fertilize it and do everything where you are right now. Try to make this the best and try to create healthy habits and create a good environment. Make sure there's a lot of things I think you can do in your life to help you to make decisions. And it starts by sleeping, and having a good sleep routine, having an exercise routine, checking who are the people surrounding you. And I think this will help you to find and make better decisions.
I think it's not willpower, it's your environment that will dictate your outcomes. Mm-hmm. That's something I firmly believe in. And the option thing is a challenging one, I think, because I see it all the time in our industry, the health, wellness, sports industry. You see someone that does wellness for a bit, or even personal training, then it doesn't work out, it gets tough, they become real estate agents, then they become hairdressers, then they do lashes. I see this all the time. Mm-hmm. And when I get asked this question, and I said, how do you get time for this? And I said, simple, I don't trade crypto. I don't look at the latest trend or building a marketing funnel. This is what I do. This is who I am. I'm in fully alignment between what I think, what I talk, and what I do. So you cannot go wrong. And I see that this availability of options doesn't let people try hard enough for long enough to actually discover what the true passion is. And that's a privilege for us because maybe we didn't have that choice. But today, same with health. You want to lose weight, you want to improve your cardiorespiratory fitness. I have the option of going for a run, becoming more active, or there is this latest technique or this surgery. There's options. And the path of least resistance is not always the best.
It's true. Yeah, and I think we get confused with all the social media, with all the options available, and I think we see on Instagram they did this for 20 days and they look so much better, or they do this, and I think these options being presented to us, it's difficult. And then, as you said, people are not sticking for long enough and not committed enough, and being distracted quite a bit, and it's tough for the young generation, for this young community, because I think for some reason my brain, I grew up in Germany and it was there were not so many options, and I think I got used to a certain amount of options, and I'm trying to really reduce options for myself as well. Yeah, I deliberately have only certain channels I'm following on Instagram. I think my feed is different, and I'm really focused on my business, and that helps me a lot. And I'm blessed, and I'm grateful that I found my purpose and my mission with Wolfi's, and that this really aligns so well, and that the outcome, and it makes me feel so good. And I think it's nice, and I'm happy that it happened that way.
Why do you believe it's tough for people to get focused or commit to a healthier lifestyle, commit 100% to something? In the health department, let's look at an active lifestyle, which is something that when I came back from holiday, I came down Shakeside Road, I was looking at the billboards, everything has changed in a month. Wellness, health. It's amazing to see this message everywhere. Why do you feel people struggle to make a change and make a change in their lifestyle?
I think it's important you find your why. Yeah. And for me, one of the things is I want to run with my grandchildren. Yeah. And I want to have a healthy and a long life and a healthy life, because I worked so hard and I want to make the most out of it. And for me, it's really something where I want to be healthy for a long time, and I want to be hopefully a good grandfather, and I want to be enjoying my life for a long time. And I think that's one part of my motivation, and the other one, I want to inspire the generation. And I'm really outspoken about this, about being in a good physical health, and I kind of challenge my team as well to be up front with their fitness goals and with my food. And I think that is a certain way to hold myself accountable, is by talking to a lot of people about it, and kind of in a way visualize it and say, okay, this is who I am. And I think people would look at me a little different if I wouldn't follow through. And for me, my own accountability to have my name again associated with it. If I say yes, I learned how to show up for certain things. I know that people, I don't know, when people go around the office with donuts, normally they know I don't take the donut. They will come to offer it to me, but I won't take it, because I don't want to be out of shape, and I will see what I eat, I will see what I drink, I exercise every day, and people know that I'm doing it, and I'm talking a lot about it, and maybe they would call me out on it, and I wouldn't deal with that quite well if I get called out when I don't do it. So I try to align this with my daily actions, and I think this is important. You have to learn to show up, and if you commit to something and you say you're going to do it, I think that's an important part of really doing it as well, because I think it is certain connections in our brain which are created every time we have this decision to make. Am I going for the exercise or not? And you start not doing it, I think your brain creates connections of, oh, it's okay not to do it, or you learn to be disciplined, and the discipline and the way that you show up to certain things is a key thing. And then the motivation will come, because then you feel it's working better.
There's momentum.
Yeah, momentum. So you need the nudge of doing it, and then I think then it's the start. And sometimes, we did some great things with, I think, Dubai 30/30 or the Fab Cycling Festival. I think these moments, I think we create moments for others, which I really love with the events company, because it could be that life-changing moment where
it could be. Yes. And that's our goal for 2025 together with Fab Cycling Festival.
Yes.
Is becoming that trigger, that nudge.
Yes.
Is the catalyst for us to start.
Yes.
So that's definitely the goal. I see ourselves, and in my role at Fab, I see myself as an enabler, right? So I give you the tools and resources and the ecosystem for you to thrive. It's what you're doing with your company. Yes. At the end of the day, it's the same thing. You are setting up people to succeed. And that's, I think, the ultimate goal for us when we work together in events like the Fab Cycling Festival, is to give people the opportunity to succeed, the tools and resources to become self-accountable and grow from there. Yes. Because when they look back, they look at, how did we start this? Oh, I remember that day when I went to the Fab Cycling Festival, and my kid learned to bike. So now I have the chance to you building experiences, improving their quality of life, and when you see the outcome and you know that you were the catalyst,
it's actually very nice. And I have I would say almost every week we have at least one situation where a customer comes from many years back and he said, when I came here and I started my work here and life was a little different, and then I found this cycling group and now I'm really immersed into this, and it really changed my life. And I think when we had the Fab Cycling Festival, it was so nice to see how many kids or the mountain bike community came together, the road cycling, the gravel people, they had a good time. And I think once you then associate it and you feel like, that's a good community, and maybe you make some new friends who are as well already cycling. And I think it was a great way to connect the people. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
I think we're going to do even better. I'm excited. The
Yes.
community at Fab is growing. The NewMe community, where almost 1,000 people, it's just growing and it's evolving.
Yes.
And talking about evolution, you've seen the UAE grow
Yes.
in this landscape particularly. How do you see the community now versus then? What can you foresee in terms of growth? Enlighten us, or me.
But we are fortunate enough to be close to the government, and we are now with the Sports Council of Dubai, Abu Dhabi. We're close to the leadership, and it's great to see. And we have seen plans for cycling connections between Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and obviously all the cycling roads in Abu Dhabi, in Al Ain, and cycling has become clear focus for the leadership of the UAE to improve the facilities. And I think we were just looking actually at what is sometimes obstacles, why people are not cycling, and we're trying to remove them, and we're trying to really analyze it and trying to grow with our team. I think the first thing is, for us as a bicycle business, it's always okay, we need to be there, that people have a place where they can get their bike fixed, or they can get a bike, and we can get the children on the bike. And I think the availability of bikes is important. The government helps us tremendously, obviously building all these cycling facilities, Hudayrat Island, Al Watba cycle track, Al Qudra, Medan, Mashif Park, all of these amazing places where you can go riding. Then obviously the events business, I think, is something quite important, where we see giving an opportunity and maybe an aim for people to say, hey, I want to try this, and I'm training for this triathlon. There's T100, there's Challenge coming to the UAE. So I think the government is doing really an amazing job of bringing all these top class events to the UAE. And now with Gulf Multisports being a Wolfi's company, I think it's really something we see is good for us, because we can grow events and reach just more people to hopefully make them fall in love with sport and cycling, and seeing the changes we can get once they start to do sports and having a healthier lifestyle.
I think, indeed, it was a good joint venture that you actually acquired.
Yes.
And what was the reason behind that? Just out of curiosity, is just to bridge the gap to buy speed, because I know
Yes.
you're a fast paced.
Yes.
It was funny when I spoke to Sam.
Yes.
And you were in that meeting. I said, success loves speed.
Yes.
That stayed there, and
Yes.
it definitely resonated
true.
with you guys.
Yes.
And with you.
First of all, obviously we worked with the team from Gulf Multisports and Steve for a few years, and we saw them, how they do their work and how committed they are. And this is a tough business. These guys sometimes are 24/7, set up locations at 2:00 in the morning, and then people are arriving at 6:00. And then we saw that maybe with our help we could grow and reach further, and obviously with the relation we have with the Abu Dhabi government and with the companies in Abu Dhabi, I think that was good to see. And the opportunity presented itself, and it took some time where we looked into it. And again, you think as a business, how can we grow and how can we have a legacy project as well, for me personally, to say, how can I reach more people? And as a retail business, you have a certain amount, but then you say, hey, here's a company who really deserves support and a good partnership. And one of the first events, again, was Fab Cycling Festival for us, under the new formation with Gulf Multisports, Wolfi's Fab. And it was just amazing. And from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, being every day at the event, cool. And seeing the kids, seeing all of the community getting together. And I, for sure, I had moments on this weekend where I said, okay, you know what, that was good. That was a good decision, and it's the right way forward. And seeing Abu Dhabi Marathon, seeing KU Challenge, seeing all these events we are involved or are helping and partnering, Tri-Yas. There's so many things happening, and the events calendar is full for the season 2024-2025 is amazingly busy, and there's lots of events to come. So everybody who needs a nudge to start a sports event, have a look. There's for sure an event coming up for you. We had 750 ladies for the Ferrari World Run in Abu Dhabi, and hundreds of them within the mall runs, and the weather is getting perfect. So the season 2024-2025 is going to be super exciting.
I'm looking forward.
Yes.
Outdoor training. I'm one of those guys. I never leave the UAE. Only 1 month in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me if I take a break. I'm good. Why would I live in the winter here? Why would I go back home? I'd rather bring my mom or my dad and stay here. This is best place on earth.
Yes.
And I like to train outside. And I do this on the winter a lot. I want to ask you, because we met in the Fab Cycling Festival, obviously. Yes. We did that together, and you were non-stop in the bike, morning and evening. And the other day you sent me a WhatsApp from the gym at Wolfi, was it?
Yes,
Where
Wolfi,
was it?
yes.
Yeah, Meydan.
Yes.
Okay, so you did both, cycling and that. Okay, now I put two and two together. How did your fitness routine evolve through the years? How do you maintain that?
Yes.
Life-work balance? How did this change over the years, and what is that you do currently to keep yourself in shape mentally and physically?
Yes. For me, it's 7 days a week that I go to I cycle to the gym, and we are conveniently located so that I can cycle for about 10, 12 minutes to the gym. Or this morning we cycled in Meydan. We live close by. So it is, my week looks like this, that Monday, Tuesday I go to the gym. Wednesday we have our group ride, Wolfi's team ride, and now a lot of customers are joining us in Meydan. Thursday I go to the gym. Friday I go cycling, there's like this morning. Saturday is gym, and Sunday we have a long ride with our Dubai Roadsters cycling group, which is normally around 80 to 120 kilometers. We ride in Dubai, and then Monday comes and I'm back in the gym. And I think it changed a little bit that I vary my intensity, and it's a lot more mobility. It's a lot more as well specific strength training I do in the gym. That's why I like the combination out of endurance, which I do on the bike, and the strength training I do in the gym. And I enjoy the gym. I listen normally to podcasts while I'm training, which is, I think, two things I really enjoy. I enjoy the exercise and the motivation and inspiration I'm getting from podcasts. And I think, again, the gym and sports in general is something which is amazing for people to learn and put the effort in, because you go to the gym and you go there 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you're not going to see any change in your body. So it's this constant effort of doing something before you really see a change. And I think in the gym as well, you can never win. There's always one extra plate, one extra rep. And I think learning that you push to failure, and failure is not a problem, because that's what you do every day. You push hard and you do as many reps as you had in your mind. And but then the next day you come again and you try again and you push yourself. But there's never going to be that you can say you won this. And I think that you understand that the journey and the enjoyment of just going there and training, I think that's very important, that people find that. And it's not always, there's no finish line really in the gym.
There's no finish line. I think it's a journey of self-improvement, self-discovery, and it molds you as an individual, as a father, as a CEO, as a CWO, as a leader, you name it, as a human being. I think it's an integral part of who we are. And nutrition.
Yes.
How do you deal with that? You mentioned about before.
Yes.
You try to keep things on track with so much output.
Yes.
I think you can be very flexible with your approach. But how do you handle nutrition?
Yes. So I take a lot of supplements. I'm a big believer in having all your vitamins, all the minerals, and I take several shakes a day. And I'm looking as well critically. So obviously after some days on holiday, I'm coming back after the summer, and you feel like you gained a bit of weight and you need to maybe reduce and optimize your food. I stick to more protein-based food. I like chicken, meat, and fish, and I have my vegetables. I try, depending on the time of the day, reduce my carbs. If I do sports and endurance sports, I feel like I work quite well. So during exercise and during the long exercises, I have a higher carb load and a carbs I take during the cycling events. But other than that, I'm quite comfortable eating protein and vegetables and all of these things. So, and salads. And so this is how I regulate my food. And it depends really. It depends a bit on my training, on my schedule of training. Then I eat a little bit more. But I'm kind of quite disciplined about my nutrition. And I can feel...
Very German.
Yes, yeah, maybe that's it. It is. I think you can't out-train a bad nutrition. I think it's really important that this works well. And I've learned over the years when I don't look after it, it takes me out of whack. And
As
I don't
you age,
drink.
do you feel like in your 30s, 40s?
It gets more difficult. But again, you learn things and you know what's good for you and you know what's not good for you. And I know, for example, that alcohol doesn't work for me. I know all of these things. You try and you learn it's not good, and then you need to see. And I need sleep. I think that's something important as well. So there's a certain amount of pillars or the certain pillars you need to fulfill and need to tick. And if you don't do it, if I don't get my sleep and I don't get my food and I don't get my training, and that affects my life. And if
we talked about training and nutrition. How about your sleep? How many hours you sleep? You track your sleep?
Yes, I track my sleep with the ring, with Ultra Human, which is quite nice. So I think they have sleeping data and my resting heart rate. And again, I think if you measure it, I think you can kind of control it and you can see it if you're improving. And but I normally go to bed at about at 8 o'clock, 8:30, depending on the day. I set my sleeping time, the time I want to wake up. So if I want to wake up at 5, I would just add 8 hours, and then this is the time I go to bed. If I wake up at 6 or 4, I said I don't really set the alarm for waking up. I set the alarm for going to bed.
A reverse alarm, yeah.
Yes, a reverse alarm. And then normally I wake up, and it's interesting how well my body clock then works, that I really wake up 3-4 minutes before. I set an alarm because I don't want to miss this, but normally I'm awake. Even so, I have different waking times during the week because cycling, I wake up a little earlier. And on the weekend, I wake up the earliest. So on Sunday, I wake up sometimes 4:30. But because we go cycling very early, especially in the summer.
What time do you go to bed on Saturday night?
Saturday night is maybe 8:30. Yeah. And then I have enough sleep. And I need to sleep. And this is really, and I think sleep is important. And sleep would have been eliminated to generations and to evolution if it wouldn't be so important. So I think it's still that our system needs sleep. And I think I perform so much better. If I have a good night of sleep, I perform well. And that's why I'm trying. So invitations for Saturday night party and Saturday night late dinners is not really me. I go early. I best is Sunday lunch because then I had my exercise. I did a long.
I became like that. If you would tell me this 10 years ago, even.
Yes.
But think about this. I neglected sleep for most of my life.
Yes.
Then something I've read from one of my mentors. He said, think about it. Evolution hasn't gotten rid of sleep.
Yes.
Sleep puts you at the mercy of predators.
Yes.
It makes you vulnerable.
Yes.
So from an evolutionary perspective, it doesn't make any sense. Why do you think that it's still here and it's still important?
Yes.
Well, I learned that a bit too late. But now, if you try to reach me after 8 p.m., I won't step out of the house, really.
Yes.
I would never regret waking up early in the morning. But in my opinion, nowadays, after 10 p.m., nothing life-changing will happen.
What happens really after 10 p.m.? I think you're somewhere at a party or something, but I think the real moments who really count, I think they happen, for me at least, they happen early morning. And this is why you're in different phases of your life.
Exactly,
I think if you're
like we discussed, yeah.
You're 20 to 30 is a different, you need to explore, you need to see it, and you need to make your own experiences. And it doesn't help if I tell my team, my daughter, or whoever, say, oh, you need to go back. I'm 53 now. I had my times when I stayed up late, and then you try it and you learn it doesn't really help, and it doesn't really help you to progress in life. So I think you're in different phases of life. And
Absolutely.
Now with 53, I wake up early. I enjoy being out there early. I think it's the time. I have good control over the time. It's as well when you're busy when we have several business units, so there's always somebody who maybe needs my attention in the evening, or that my day runs a bit late. So I do my sports in the morning because I have control. If I want to do an extra hour of training, I just wake up 1 hour early and I have my things organized. And normally this is the time I have most control over my day. And then once I've done this, I can ease into my day and my day kind of goes towards the end, and I kind of then reduce. I don't normally train in the evening because then I can, again, if my metabolism is up, I would train at 5 or 6, and I want to go to bed at 8, and I try to eat as well early. Yeah, so normally when people invite us for dinner, I say, okay, 6:30, and I don't like 8, 9 o'clock dinners. It's just, then
you sound like me. You're a nightmare to hang out with.
Yes.
Wow. Well, Wolfi, one last question before we go into this. What excites you the most about the cycling ecosystem in the UAE? What would you like to see, and your legacy? Mm-hmm. Where are you headed on that front?
You know, it was interesting. This year I was in Italy for the Tour de France, which started for the first couple of days in Italy and started the event. And Tadej Pogačar just had won the Giro d'Italia, then came back as well, won the Tour de France. And then seeing the team performing on such a high level, and seeing the UAE on the jersey, and seeing all of this is fantastic. Then I went to Paris to the Olympics, and going into the Olympic House of the UAE, which was an amazing presentation of the culture and values of the UAE. And I walked in, and I was greeted by a local lady and a local Emirati gentleman, and they gave us the Arabic coffee, and we walked in, and then there was a display of the Arabic culture, and it was the dhow, it was the palm tree, it was the camel, and there was a mountain, and there was a bicycle. And I had this moment, and I thought, you know what, this is fantastic that the bicycle has become a part of the UAE culture. And then we walked further in, we saw displays of a video display of Safia, who participated as a female representative in the UAE in the Olympic road cycling race. We saw His Highness Sheikh Ahmed, who won the gold medal in Athens for the UAE. And then there was an immersive experience about the sports, falconry, dhow racing, and cycling. And it was just such an amazing experience that this is really now part of the cycling culture. And that I think the UAE is so well presented with the ladies team ADQ and with the team UAE Emirates around the world. And it's interesting how people now sometimes even don't associate it, and I say, hey, this is the team UAE, you know, it's Tadej Pogačar, it's the UAE, and then they make this connection, and you really see how enlightened this is for them to say, oh, that's fantastic. And we see Bahrain Victorious is a team, Saudi Arabia has with Al Ola have a cycling team. Seeing the cycle tracks growing, seeing what happens in Hudayriyat with the velodrome coming, all of these things are just amazing. You know, and I'm so excited for what's to come, and I think everybody who's into the sport should be excited what's to come. And I see a good future because the government and the leadership is so wise, and they enjoy cycling themselves, which I think is the best way. Yeah, that. I had the pleasure to ride with His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, and we rode on the Formula One track, and a great experience, and again shows the leadership to motivate his people who follow him to do sports, and seeing all this is fantastic. So I'm really, really excited, and I'm so grateful as well every day that I could be part of that story and then be a small piece in the development of the sport. And again, seeing people like this morning on the cycle track and seeing them enjoying themselves, having a coffee afterwards, having a good time, improving lives. It's fantastic.
You played a big role in the first event that we've created, cycling-wise at FAB, and for myself as a chief wellness officer. So for me, you definitely made a big impact as well, and you keep doing, and inshallah we will keep doing this in 2025 and beyond. So
yes,
thank you for being here. And
and thanks for FAB as well. I think it's nice to see that a bank really understands how important this is, and that it's obviously there's a certain element of wealth creation, but as well it's the physical and mental health as well. And I think understanding this as a partner and reaching out and doing all these activations you do, I think it's fantastic. And doing the podcast and doing the New Me and FAB Cycling Festival, I think it's great. And the leadership of the bank did a great job, and I'm really happy that we can work together on this project and create legacy for the seasons to come. And we had these discussions when we discussed about the events.
Yeah,
this is legacy. This is not only one event. It's going to be a series of events. I think it's going to be hopefully getting children and other people into the sport. And maybe we're not going to see how much of an impact we're going to have in maybe 30, 40, 50 years while I'm maybe already gone. But hopefully people will remember what we started and will say, hey, this is how I got into the sport. And seeing people participating in Olympic Games and seeing other people out there, I think it's fantastic. And I think we're doing the right thing, and that's a great motivation. If you know you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, it's good.
I'm excited as well, and I know 2025 Five Cycling Festival will be even better. And my goal is that towards 2030 and beyond, hopefully I'm still there at FAB, leading wellness, and we could say that we have ignited something that has changed so many people's lives.
Definitely. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wolfi.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.